Underground edition with Bill Everett. The Underground edition with Bill Everett. The Underground edition. Bill Everett.
Sorry I Loved You from the band S.E.X. fronted by Phil Jones, born 1961, died 2020. For many people, there is a finality to those last words. But for Phil, who created this notorious underground Celtic rock band, I doubt that this will be the case. For the next hour, this update of the Underground Edition is going to feature the music of Phil and his band S.E.X. as a tribute to not only a friend of mine, but to a musician and performer who never compromised his creativity, even though that creativity would mean that he would be essentially ignored by the mainstream media, which is to their detriment. Commercial success almost completely eluded Phil and his spin-off group, the Big Fat Blues Band. But nevertheless, they were all rooted in the pub circuit of their native South Wales and wowed audiences in their various incarnations, especially with Phil Jones' outrageous antics. And in this update, I'll be talking to Dave Turner, who is Phil's archivist, to try and get an idea about the man and his music. And in our Urban Legends feature, we hear the story of the bridal, as told by Gareth Wyn Jones, of a young man who was haunted in his sleep by a beautiful woman. Very much in keeping with the mysterious women Phil would often sing about. And now, who said this? I'd like to know who said this. So far, I've failed in every context, in every continent, and I still haven't got the message. So, who do you think said that? I'll give it to you again. So far, I've failed in every context, in every continent, and I still haven't got the message. Any idea? I'll give you the answer at the end of the show. And music-wise, we have tracks from the following albums: Rockstar, Skirlage and Jowl, Thundersea Apollina, and in a moment, the title track from S.E.X. Through the Ages.
The fastest way to the internet. islandwebservices.co.uk. Island Web Services design and host bespoke websites for businesses and individuals. Professional websites start from just £100 with no hidden extras. Log on to find out more at islandwebservices.co.uk.
Celtic Radio. Tune in now.
No use feeling sorry, no left to regret it. I know you're crying.
Celtica Radio. Hot station. Cool music.
A world of friends. A world of love. Where the madness cannot win. Where leaders talk and justice reigns. And the demons can't get in. I can't remember before September. I can't remember before September. A world that's sane, that we must save, so there's no regretting. A world of peace forevermore, and there's no bloodletting. I can't remember before September. I can't remember before September.
So, we've just heard an EP track called Before September, and preceding it, the title track of the album S.E.X Through the Ages, from S.E.X, of course. We're paying tribute to Phil Jones, who has died of cancer, aged 59. It's fairly well documented that sometime in the late 1980s, Phil contacted me when I worked in local radio and asked my opinion about calling his band S.E.X. It's also pretty well known what my answer was. You'll find it difficult to get airplay with a name like that. But irrespective of the name, I'd heard his music before when I worked as a staff presenter for Red Dragon Radio in Cardiff. So I knew Phil had real talent and did what local radio is supposed to do. I publicised it, at least in my part of the general programming, and not ghettoised it to be aired once in a blue moon. Maybe. Okay, time for another go at who said this. So who do you think said this? So far, I've failed in every context, in every continent, and I still haven't got the message. Now, who do you think said that? I'll give it to you once again. So far, I've failed in every context, in every continent, and I still haven't got the message. You'll get the answer at the end of the show. This is the Underground Edition with Bill Everett, and in a moment, Revenge of the Overlord, and then I'll be talking to Dave Turner.
Do you like your rock music heavy, with a slice of variety on the side? Just like your favourite rock fest? Ah, you do you? This is Kirsty Green. Tune in to some of the finest independent rock acts from all over the world here on the Automatic Rock Show from Celtica Radio. From precious metal to primal screaming, it's all on the programme. You can even download the podcast to keep or use the listen again option so you won't miss a thing. So don't forget, that's the Automatic Rock Show with Kirsty Green, live and on demand on Celtica Radio. Online, on mobile, tablet and PC, and on digital wireless, channel 915. It's all free and with no restrictions. But if you want a mosh pit, you'll have to bring your own.
Celtica Radio.
It's time to listen. It's time to see. You may not like it, but you can't ignore me.
When was I a boy?
I had a dream. I was going to be the tallest man you'd ever seen. But now I'm here, and you're listening. It's all I need.
It's the revenge
Of the Overlord.
It's time to party. It's time to rock. No time to stop me. No time to stop.
When I was a boy?
I had a dream. I was going to be the richest man you'd ever see. But now I'm here, and you're listening. It's all I need.
It's the revenge of the Overlord.
When I was a boy?
I had this dream. I was going to be the most famous man you'd ever seen. But now I'm here, and you're listening. It's all I need.
It's the revenge of the Overlord. It's the revenge of the Overlord.
Revenge of the Overlord, the title track to Phil's second album published in 1995. Now, joining me on the telephone from his home in Cardiff is Dave Turner, who since 2000 has been the archivist of all of Phil's work with both S.E.X and the Big Fat Blues Band. Dave, welcome to the programme.
Thanks for inviting me, Bill. It's nice to be here.
So, to begin with, how did you get involved with Phil?
I first saw Phil play live in Porthcawl in 1985 when I just turned 18. I saw a fantastic band, a charismatic frontman. I bought his first cassette, played the music, been a fan ever since.
And what made you decide to become Phil's archivist?
Well, Phil used to send me cassettes. We were in contact by letter. We used to speak quite regularly. And he used to send me demos and just copies of just about everything he had recorded. I kept everything, kept it safe.
And Phil himself had a notorious act, and I suppose the band name S.E.X was a bit of a giveaway. What was he like off stage?
Off stage, completely different. On stage, as you say, a wild act. Off stage, a gentle, humble man, completely the opposite of his stage persona. Very friendly. Phil didn't have acquaintances; he had friends instantly, and he always respected everybody he's talked to. He was a lovely, lovely man.
Yeah. And what was it like to work with Phil when it came to releasing the stuff?
Well, Phil was very supportive, and he let me do an awful lot myself. He gave me great trust in putting together the artwork and selecting any bonus tracks and other details. And he was always there for interviews regarding the liner notes, and he was there for me to check details with. He was very supportive and very pleased that these songs were being released properly.
And in addition to S.E.X, he also formed in front of the Big Fat Blues Band. Do you think that he intended that to eventually replace S.E.X?
He sort of mentioned it, but S.E.X was always going to be less of a priority in a way. The Big Fat Blues Band he was enjoying that a lot, but S.E.X wouldn't have gone away. He was determined to make another S.E.X album, and it would have been there. But more, his idea for S.E.X was it to be more of an event band, one-off big shows, whereas the Big Fat Blues Band was going to be more the permanent gig-in band, sort of like his regular band, and he'd save S.E.X for the big shows.
Yes. Talking of which, I remember one of the last conversations I had with Phil was about going off to Transylvania to work there, because he was a bit of a star out in Transylvania, wasn't he? Quite a big star, actually.
He made quite an impact there, yes. When he went over for the Vamp Fest in Transylvania. Yeah, he went down very well there by all accounts.
They were even going to do a stage show, weren't they?
Yeah, he was reading lines for a character in a stage show. It's like a satirical vampire sort of comedy type thing it was, called Revamped. I'm not sure what's going to happen to the show now, but Phil was reading lines for it. He was learning his lines for it. He was very much looking forward to that.
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt, the archetypal artist. I could just see him now standing there with that big long cape and the huge top hat that he used to wear.
Definitely. The role suited him to a T.
How much is there of Phil's and published work?
Oh, there's lots. There are live shows. There are demos that go back to the very early bands, very early years of the band. I mean, back in 1985 onwards. Unreleased songs, band run-throughs, rehearsals, songs that have never been released, different versions. There's lots of material that's never come out.
And he always said that the S.E.X band project would produce 10 albums. Can you see that 10th album ever being made now?
I very much hope so. There are songs that S.E.X recorded that he released on YouTube that were designed to be for the album. He had a title for the final album, which was The Devil Must Die. And the X in the band name was going to be highlighted, as the Roman numeral for 10. It was, whether it would have been the final S.E.X album, I don't know. Phil always recorded, and I was trying to talk him into doing another one after that. But I think that we should do our best to get the 10th album out.
And you will certainly get my support in that, I can assure you, and all of us on the station.
Thank you. Yeah, that's good.
We're going to play out this part of the program now with a track which is called Take Your Clothes Off. Do you know anything about that particular song?
I know Phil liked it very much. He specifically asked for that song to be included on the compilation CD he brought out. So, yeah, he liked that. He liked the drumming in it. And he liked the overall feel of the song. So, yeah, it was one of his favorites.
Dave Turner, thank you very much.
Thank you, Bill. It's a pleasure.
I want you to feel good. I want you to boogie. And if I get too hot, I need you to cool me. Take your clothes off and dive into the sea. And don't stop swimming till you're making want you to relax. I think you should chill out. If you're wondering what I want, let there be no doubt. Take your clothes off and dive into the sea. And don't stop swimming till you're making love to me under the palm trees. Can I be your Robinson Crusoe? Feel the sunburn. Set the mood for making love, so let's do so. And God, up in heaven, you made us what we are. You gave us these desires like a challenge from the stars.
And once again, many thanks to Dave Turner.
This is Celtica Radio, broadcasting online and on digital wireless. We're also available on the mobile phone network, plus on the World Wide Web, 24 hours a day. www.celticaradio.com.
Celtica Radio. Celtica. Tell the truth and don't believe you. If you place a word to deceive you. Truth you tell with bad intent. It's all the lies you can invent. Liar, liar, niggas on fire. Plenty of lust with no affection. Don't forget weapons of mass deception. Quicker than you, since fiction. Don't mistake God for science fiction. Liar, liar, niggas on fire. I know when you lie, your lips are moving. Tell me the truth. It's just confusing.
the album Raining on the Sun. That was Liar Liar. At this point in the programme, I have to make an apology to those fans of Phil's second project, the Big Fat Blues Band. We only have so much time to cram this all in, and Phil was a most prolific songwriter. But I can assure fans of the Big Fat Blues Band we will be airing their music in future shows across this platform. Okay, time for another go at who said this. So who do you think said this? So far, I've failed in every context, in every continent, and I still haven't got the message. I'll give that to you again. So far, I've failed in every context, in every continent, and I still haven't got the message. Still no idea? I'll give you the answer at the end of the show. But now time for our urban legend, which is called The Bridle, and is told for us by Gareth Wynne Jones.
There were once two brothers who worked as blacksmiths at a village in the border region of Scotland. They were handsome lads with bright blue eyes and fiery hair, and they were as happy as the day is long. So hard did they toil from morning till dusk, and with many a dram after supper, that they slept soundly at night, never waking until the sun showed in the sky. Then there came a time when the younger brother lost the sparkle in his eyes. Day by day he grew more weary, with hardly the strength to wield the hammer, and the older brother was distressed to see him wasting away. "It's a lassie who comes to me in my dreams and keeps me from my sleep," the younger brother explained one day. He told of a girl with raven locks and eyes that held him spellbound. Quiet as the moonlight, she would steal into his room whenever he closed his eyes. There she would whisper his name, kiss him gently, and entice him to follow her out into the night. For a long time he would tell no more, because he had promised the girl of his dreams that no one should hear of his adventures after dark. And so his eyes grew hollow, his cheeks pale, and often he would toss and turn in his bed, crying out in his sleep. As the days wore on, he became more and more listless. He lost his appetite, and some mornings he was too tired to climb from his bed. At last he could hide the secret no longer. It was then that his older brother learned that the beguiling lassie who came at night was in truth a witch. Her gentle touch and soft brown eyes hid a heart of stone. Each night when she had lured the young one from his room, she took him to the stable, and there slipped a bridle over his head. By some mysterious spell, she was able at once to transform him into a lively stallion with a chestnut mane, on whose back she might travel fast, wheresoever she wished. Over the hills and glens her mount would gallop, and screeching with excitement she would spur him on, with never a moment's rest. To a far-off place they would journey, where a coven met, and their master, the devil. There, panting and glistening with sweat, the beast was tethered to a tree until their revelry was over. And before the first cock crowed, she would ride back again, unbridle the exhausted stallion, and with the spell now wearing off, would leave in the stable a fatigued and bewildered young man. Hearing of the young one's plight, the older brother was furious, and swore by all that was holy to break the spell. The next time the witch came calling, it was he who lay in his brother's place, peeping above the blanket. Silent as a wraith, she entered the room through the window and stood beside the bed. He felt the touch of her hand and lips as she whispered to wake him from sleep. Her black hair fell over her eyes. Longer than usual she lingered there, for her kisses were exciting, and he was more resourceful and opportunist than his brother. Eventually he followed out into the night, along the path leading to the stable, where she fastened the enchanted bridle to his head and shoulders. Almost at once the spell was cast. As had happened before, it was not the hand of a young man she held, but the reins of an excited stallion, its hooves tearing at the ground, its chestnut mane shining in the moonlight. With a shriek of delight, the witch leaped on its back and spurred the beast to a gallop. Horse and rider sped off over the braes to the devil's rendezvous, and in that sheltered glen far away the coven met to dance and weave their mischief. While the witch was at her merrymaking, the stallion tugged and bit at its tether. Again and again it rubbed its head against the tree until the bridle fell away. Free at last, the beast melted into the darkness, and in its place the older brother stood, breathless and bewildered. For a long time he hid in the shadows, waiting for his tormentor to return. When she appeared, he crept up behind her and fastened the bridle above her head. Her struggles were in vain, for instantly the spell fell upon her instead, changing her to a black mare, and her shrieking to a whiny. The avenger climbed on her back, digging his heels into her flanks so savagely that she set off at a furious gallop. Lashing out with the reins, he rode the mare along the roughest paths. Mile after mile he spurned her on, through hedges and over ditches, up the steepest slopes and headlong down the other side. It was dawn when they reached the village, and the mare could barely drag one leg behind another. Its nostrils flared, its coat steamed, and froth bubbled from its mouth. Some say that the blacksmith was merciless and nailed iron shoes to the mare's bleeding hooves. Others say that he took pity on the wretched beast, confident that the witch had learned her lesson. So he led the mare to the stable behind the forge. There he fed and watered her, bathed her wounds, and let her rest a while. Then, well groomed and newly shod, she was set free to wander the banks and braes. No one will ever know whether at the end of its journey the mare was shown compassion or cruelly driven away. But it is remembered that before the day had passed, a dark-haired, bony lassie from over the hill was found in her bed, hugging the sheets above her, fearful that someone should find her there. When neighbours ignored her shrieking protests and tore the sheets from her grasp, her body was seen to be bruised and scratched, and to each of her hands and feet a horseshoe was fastened.
Still touching me. still haunted me from the ages. She still touches me from the pages. She still haunted me across the ages. She still reaches me. Nothing
I think it is time we demonstrated the full power of this station.
Celtica Radio.
One day you'll find out the dreams turn into time. Sometimes it turns out dreams can twist your mind. I've been robbed, ripped off, and overlooked. I don't know how to stop. Looks like I took the hardest road, but I'm the toughest of the lot. I was born to rock. Born to rock. Some dreams can burn out. Some you need to hold. Dreaming some love more. Soothe a restless soul. I've been quaked up, staked, and underbooked. I don't know where to stop. Looks like I took the long way up to make it to the top. I was born to rock. Born to rock.
Born to Rock, off the 2009 album Skirlage and Jowl, and before that The Haunting, off Thundersea Apollina. We're paying tribute to Phil Jones, the frontman and founder of S.E.X and the Big Fat Blues Band, who has died of cancer, aged 59. Now, I asked this question a little earlier. Who said this? So far, I've failed in every context, in every continent, and I still haven't got the message. Now, who do you think said that? I'll give that to you one more time. So far, I've failed in every context, in every continent, and I still haven't got the message. Still haven't got it? And I'll tell you in a little while. In a tick, though, rampant rock people.
Hi, this is Dave Cook. Don't forget to join me for the Dave Cook Zoo on Celtica Radio, where we're going to talk about missiles fitted to jet fighters. They're called fire and forget. What does that mean? They've got Alzheimer's? You know, you fire it and you go, hang on, was I going for Moscow or was I going for... where was I going for? The other thing that we need answers to, what is this big deal with the thermos? I still don't understand why it keeps things hot and why it keeps things cold. Please let me know. Why are London buses red? These are all questions that need to be answered. So, when you are ready, come and join me. Don't forget the Dave Cook Zoo here on Celtica Radio.
Rampant Rock People from 1995 off the EP of the same title. Over the last hour, we've been paying tribute to Phil Jones, the frontman and founder of S.E.X and the Big Fat Blues Band, who died of cancer, aged 59. Okay, now I asked this question at the beginning of the show. Who said this? So far, I have failed in every context, in every continent, and I still haven't got the message. So who do you think said that? I'll give it to you one more time. So far, I've failed in every context, in every continent, and I still haven't got the message. So, still no idea? Well, it was, of course, by Phil himself, with tongue very firmly in cheek, who after over 3,000 gigs was still raging against the light. We're going to play out now with Sunshine and Snow from the 1999 Rockstar album. Before I go offline, I'd like to thank my special guest, Dave Turner, who also produced this show, and of course you for listening, and Gareth Wyn Jones for reading the urban legend. But that is about a lot from me, and don't forget, if you'd like to contact us about anything you've heard in this programme, then please do. My address is bill@celticaradio.com. It's bill@celticaradio.com. So for the moment, from me, Bill Everett, wherever you're listening in the world, good night, good morning, good evening. This has been a special production paying tribute to the genius of the Welsh underground musician Phil Jones, and to echo the words in the T-shirt he wore. Phil lives.
Music had such a power over me, Bill. And where I was growing up, I lived in a street called Rockfields, and at the end of my hill, the top of my hill, it was cornfields for 1 mile all the way down to the beach. And I can remember because I love the sea, I love the beach, I love swimming. I can remember going through those cornfields with a little transistor radio. And of course it was the 60s. I was lucky enough, as you were, to be growing up in the 60s with all this amazing music coming out and the power over me. Fantastic.
Kiss the lady, send